I am a white woman who grew up in an evangelical culty religion. As I educate myself, though, I really get stuck on this one point. White Christians would go to church on a Sunday wearing a cross around their neck to worship a martyr god who was crucified by being nailed to a cross to be publicly tortured to death for political reasons. And then those same Christians would leave church with a picnic to go to a public lynching. And then they would gather by the hundreds or thousands to do to a Black person the same or worse than was done to their martyr god. And then they would pass out the body parts as souvenirs, and they would take photographs to go on postcards. And they would bring their kids and call themselves, without irony, Christians. What the actual fuck? I am a white...
Alright, Shalom, our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yehoshai, Bahashem Charakah, Kodash, double honors to our elders and our apostles of Great Millstone, and a salute to the sincere elect out there. More Psalms 64 and 8. The tongue shall fall upon himself, right? So that was her confession, man, right? Confession of a murderer or murderers. And we're going to get into some of this funnel everything through the scriptures as we do. So I only got one question. What do you Christians have to say now? What do you Christians have to say now? The origins, this woman is going in on the origins of Christianity, right? Lynching, right? Just to name a few things. And I've done videos on how lynching was a ritual, right, that took place for the whole community, the community of white people, the village, the town, come out and celebrate a lynching of a ninja, a black man, a so-called black man. So this is some real talk, some real things coming out here, man. And the children shall seek to please the poor, right? That's how they be getting down. So that is what word comes to my mind here? There's a couple of words actually, but we're gonna just keep it in the scriptures. Job chapters 15 and 34 says, "For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacle of bribery." This is what's happening right now to Christianity. It's desolate. People are leaving because people, even unbeknown to a lot of even Edomites, are disowning. Right, they're from the Bible belts, what they call them over there in the Mississippi, Georgia, Texas, and all of that, disowning their parents, children seeking to please the poor, which that ain't gonna work anyway. That ain't gonna work because once again, for the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. We was in Christian, we was in that Christian church. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, it is full of hypocrisy, right? I'm talking about the extent which all the black churches today, all they are is an extension from the cotton fields, the grape drinkers passed down from their slave masters, unbeknown to a lot of so-called black people. Is your the Christianity you're celebrating has been passed down from your slave masters, from the cotton field, from the Bible belts. And as she said, you celebrate it, the lynching, or the original lynching, which Yehoshua was the first lynching on the cross. And then they sit down and they clap their hands, right, in the Bible Belt. Up to this very day, New Orleans and all those Mississippi, those racist places where it's very, very known for their history of racism and lynching and castrating and all forms of inhumane things, they still do that to the very day. That's the origin of Christianity, right? When you do your research, right? So it just comes down to being hypocrites. For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacle of bribery. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Boy, if I was to do a video on how many lynching took place, oh boy, it would go on and on and on to infinity what these demons have done. So there's a word I want to get into. First and foremost, let me go to Google. Mass murderer meaning. Right, you hear about all these mass murderers stories. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. These are the original mass murderers, man. These is, right? The white man today. A mass murderer is a person who kills 3 or more people during a single event. Yep, I can get into all of that, right? Which I've done videos on the Black Wall Street, Tulsa Homer, the Rosewood, just to name a few, right? That was mass murderers. They get caught up in a frenzy, and it's actually a ceremony, a ritual, right? The act of killings typically happen at a single location or multiple linked locations during one continuous episode, right? So that's their MO, right? They're mass murderers, right? And she's acting like I don't like what they was doing. Well, you ain't calling them out, are ya? Right? Your family, and they're still doing it today. Are you calling them out? Are you telling all the lynching that's taking place over there? You talking about it? You know who done it, right? Over there in Mississippi up to this very day. So you ain't, right? For those who have no mercy shall receive no mercy, right? You either my white woman, right? Hypocrisy, the meaning, hypocrite, meaning a person who pretends to have morals, beliefs, virtues, or rules that they do not actually follow or possess. That's what a hypocrite is. An actor, right? Or actress. A person who tells everybody to recycle but throw all their own plastic trash in the recycle garbage, in the regular garbage. Someone who says one thing but does the opposite. Right? This is the MO of these devils. They call it double speech. Right? Foolish pretender, right? Hypocrite. Right? It's got the word there. I'm probably gonna butcher it if I attempt to pronounce it. Right? Foolish pretender. Right? In religion, basically. That's it there, right there. Foolish pretender. Stage actor, pretender. Enough said. So these are these devils, man. Up to this very day. Right? Oh. This is one of my I was doing some research on what they've been doing to Jake. Right? The taking out the reproduction organs. That's one of my past videos. Yeah, well that's the spirit. Look at that. These are one of the things that they was doing, and other things as well in the NHS. The video I did yesterday on that man was still in the doctor, right? Which I did the video yesterday. The doctor was still on that, or in that vibration of murder. It's a vibration talking about when the man went up to him outside the NHS, outside the hospital, and said, "What do you have to do? You need to repent about all the babies that you kill." And he just showed his true colours. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Because it's still in the spirit of the devil, right? Probably just done an operation, right? Probably just done an operation, and he's still in the vibration of deleting. They delete. It's in their mind, man. I'll tell you what. Let me get a preset. It's in their blood, in their DNA. Let me find a preset. So I don't really need to say much. I'm gonna let the scripture speak, and as we know, we got the evidence. We got the evidence. Their tongue is falling upon themselves. These people's tongue is falling upon themselves. Not to mention all the history of God over there in Canada up to this very day. They're finding graves, mass graves of bodies that were deleted in the times of when they was deleted in the in the boarding schools when they had them in the boarding school. Kill the Indian, something like that. Kill the Indian, save the man when they had them, took away all their attire, right? The Gads attire, which they used to wear, fringes attire, their traditional attire, and put them in suit and tie. Kill the Indian. That was the saying. That was the phrase. Save the man. So let me find that precept. Micah 2:1. So your history is catching up on you. It's catching up on you. So let me read this. Micah chapter 2:1 says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their bed." Right? This is what the woman said, man. Right? They're in the church. That's why they walk around with that cross. They love it. And they passed it on to you, Jakes. You Jakes are wearing the cross up to this very day. You don't even know why, what you're doing. You're symbolizing a deletion, right, of your whole shy. You're wearing the actual ornament or ornament that Yahushua was crucified on, as if it's something to be proud of, right? That's why they passed that. And the woman said they be getting old, making ornaments. We know, not like we don't know, but we want to make them say it themselves out of their own mouth. We know already. We know because we know our research. We done our research. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covert field, right? The Indian Removal Act, and that's still happening as well. When you do your diligence, that's still happening in places like Mississippi. Labeling certain towns or houses that been bought by the owners, right? Mainly black people, being bought and paid for by the owners, and they're labeling them ghettos and saying that they're gonna bulldoze them and displacing the owners and taking the land and the houses up to this very day. That's what they was doing. The Indian Removal Act. They're still doing that today to Jakes in certain parts of America, Mississippi, and a lot of places. The more you do your research, probably more than just not only Mississippi, probably a lot of other these so-called Bible Christian church, Christian towns. They covert fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right. This was past, present, and it's still going on today. She's talking about it like this woman here, right? I am a white woman who grew up in an evangelical culty religion. Why don't you call them out then? It's all right though, because the angels know who they are. So you ain't gonna do that. Tell on yourself. Well, you're telling, but you're only telling half the story. You ain't gonna tell who they are. You ain't gonna, because you're still doing it to this day, right? Trying the children seeking to please the poor. So let me get back to Job 15:35 says, "The congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume them." Right? That's why we're not surprised when we hear about all those fires. Right? Those fires that are burning UNO up, right, in Europe and in California because of your past. And a lot of you still got these ornaments in your house, these postcards in your house, the Confederate flags in your house. Brothers have told us, brothers over there in America, LA, have told us they've been to certain Edomites' house and they got the Confederate flags in them, right? And they got memorabilia of Jakes being lynched. They're the postcards, the memorabilia of the past, holding our past in their houses, decking up their houses, decorating their houses with memorabilia of Jakes being lynched and castrated. That's the kind of demons we're dealing with. Uno got born, right? Let me say it again. I just said it in the spirit, but let me say it from the scripture. Job 15:34. "For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume them." The tabernacle of the bribery. The tabernacles of bribery, right? Fire, I got burn on them. That's all I want. That's all I need right there. Only part of scriptures I can get into. As a matter of fact, let me get another one. Let me get another one on that particular the precept to that. Job 36 and 30 says, but the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath. They cry not when it bindeth them, right? They die in youth, and their life is among the unclean, right? And the hypocrites are you, Edomites. You're the original hypocrites. You're the original actors, right? Harbingers of death. And you got those who are still in that mindset. The mindset of the Christian. They call it Stockholm Syndrome. That's why they're celebrating so-called Jesus, because his name ain't Jesus, right? His proper name is Yehovah Shai, right? Jesus was the word J, the letter J wasn't come about up until 1524 by John Giorgio Chessino, right? Which is which he originated the letter I, which was an extension of the letter J, right? Or J was an extension of the letter I, so it was made up, right? 1524, John Giorgio Chessino. So his name could never be Jesus, right? Once again, hypocrites, forgers of lies. That's Ono. So the question is, what do you Christians have to say now? Right? Everything about you is fake. Everything about you is fake, right? You devils, right? So we just had it, the origins of Christianity. That's going to be the title of this video. The origins of Christianity. What do you Christians have to say about that? The confession of an Edomite. Once again, Job 36 and 15 says, but the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath. They cry not when he bindeth them. And when we bundle you up, right? Obadiah 18. When we bundle you up, you're going to be bawling. We're going to set there's going to be a bonfire. Obadiah 18. Right? That's the future of a hypocrite. Actually, I might change it to that. I might change the title of the video to that. The destiny of a hypocrite. Obadiah 18. They die in youth, and their life is among the unclean, right? Because you can't bring something clean out of something that is unclean. You can't bring something clean out of something that is unclean. So there you have it, Akim. That's all we want. Keep it short and sweet. The point is done made, right? The future of the hypocrites, right? That's the title of it. The destiny of a hypocrite and the origin of Christianity. What do you have to say now after the lady's confession? She ain't no damn lady, right? She not even human. She ain't got no color, so she ain't human. So she ain't a lady. That's for sure. But let her talk. Let her say her piece, and we gonna get them, all of them, in the kingdom, in the congregation. Obadiah 18. The congregation of hypocrites. I have to read it again. Job 15. And that's all we need. And 34 again. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacle of bribery. Right? Obadiah 18. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Right? The destiny of Unu hypocrites. What do you have to say now? The origin of Christianity. We out.